In this video, I'm going to show you 8 hacks that my team and I have been using Google Anti-Gravity, their new sort of vibe coding development platform, sort of like a level up version of VS Code. So help you really supercharge the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. For some quick background, my team and I build and develop and implement internal tools and systems for businesses, and leveraging the tools like Google Anti-Gravity, Claude Code, and so many more are vital foundations for long-term growth and success for ourselves and our partners. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through all of those. If you want to get access to more information just like this and so much more, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and comment down below any other tips, tricks, information you would love to get deeper insights on. To start, one thing you need to understand is most people believe in order for you to get better results with the AI models and these editors is better prompting. But what you honestly need is better systems and structure to follow, implement. See, if you've got a bad system, if you've got bad structure, it doesn't really matter what your prompt is. You're not going to get the results that you want, when you want, and how you need them to be. If you've ever tried any of these platforms, you'll know that if you've just gone into it without any structure or any planning, it just goes haywire. And while it may build you something, if you know anything about development, you'll quickly find that the code and the structure or the foundation at which it's built on is extremely fragile. And this, we're going to work through solving that first. To start, let's get you to install Google Anti-Gravity. What we first need to do is go to antigravity.google. Depending on the platform you're using, you can download the corresponding editor. Once it's done, go through, click on it, and open up your editor. In this instance, you'll see that I've already got some basic stuff, but what's really important here is you want to actually begin by getting the foundational structure in place. Now, if you've ever used an editor like this, we first actually want to go through and do the following, which is open this up via using a folder. And this is important because we want everything we have in our build to be in a structured format. So we want to go and do that first. Go and click on File Explorer. We can just go to Downloads, New, Folder. I'm going to just do AG for Anti-Gravity Demo. As you see here, the folder is empty. Great. Now we're going to come over here back into Anti-Gravity. We're going to click File, Open Folder, click on AG. From there, you will see, yes, we can say, hey, do we want to trust these authors? Now we've got everything. We have the empty folder. How does this all work? So I want to break this down for you really cleanly to start. So on the left-hand side, this is where all of your files, your folders, your documentation, your information is going to be. So this is sort of what and when the agents go and develop. All that information is going to be added and dropped, essentially just like any other VS Code style editor. Here in the middle, this is where all of your code or documentation is going to be shown. We'll walk through what this looks like in more detail in just a moment. And then on the right-hand side here is your agent communication center or your agent hub. So essentially the place at which you will go to speak to your agent, to have them help you do something, walk through a task, see the activity that they're doing, on and so forth. In here, you also have a couple of different modes. You have a planning mode and you have a fast mode. So typically you're probably going to be doing most of your work in the planning mode, so you can leave that alone. But then you also have the mode where you can choose the type of prompting model, or the type, I should say. And here you can choose the type of model that you're going to use. In here, you'll see you've got a variety of different models, and you've got options. So if you want to talk with this model, you can. If you want to talk with these, you can do so as well. As you see here, I've already had a lot of talking on this one, but that's totally fine. So we've got these options. It's really important to understand this because this is the key interface and the place you're going to be interacting with everything. Now that you've got a good understanding of the foundations of the editor, let's dive into the best practice and one of the most important things you need in your platform when you're just getting yourself started. And that's going to be the Agents.md file. The version of this and the reason why you want a file like this is to provide a lot of directional structure. So as we just talked about before, it doesn't matter what your prompt is, it matters about the structure and the systematic implementation process it's going to follow to do the same thing every single time and maintain high quality outputs time and time again. So I have this document. It's actually going to be in the link of the video down below. So if you want access to this, just grab it, copy, paste it, and you can sort of follow along as we're building stuff out just so you can get used to it. Come in, you're going to hit the new file. You type it whatever and call it whatever you want. I just called it agents.md. But you'll also see this little icon that's blue right above it. And so what that means is this has not been saved. So if we went to go do anything, I wanted to show you something else, this wouldn't technically be visible because it's not been saved. So hit Control S, and now you'll see that little white dot has gone away. What's great is now that this is saved, this is a callable file that we can reference in our agent conversation, which is amazing because it makes our life so much easier. So if you want to call something like this, we can just go @ and we can go files, agents. Boom, there we go. Alternatively, you could also just type it in, but in this instance, I like that structure. It makes it easy for us to jump around and work through everything. What's great about this file is we're gonna be able to let Google Anti-Gravity use it to implement all of the files, the structure, the whole implementation process that you wanted to follow. So that way things are moving consistently time and time again. And I'm going to help you get this going. And while this is going on, I'm going to go through in detail what it is, how it works, etc. One thing that is really cool about us actually having the ability to add this like agents file in, we can come in here, click agents, and we can just type in the following word called instantiate. Essentially, it just means follow this, implement this. And all it's going to do is review this document and then start following the entire process that we've outlined within it. While this is going on, I'll dive into more details on how this is all working. As you can see here, Google Anti-Gravity's agent is off to the races, going through and implementing the file structure, putting everything together in the way that it needs, and it's got file changes. And as you see here, it's wanting us to review and accept. So we can review this implementation plan, see what it's put together, mark agree. Great. So one thing that we want this to do while we're having it work through everything is to understand the foundations of the setup. And part of this is the 3-layer architecture, which is involving the following: intent, decisions, and execution. Now, these 3 layers are very important because of the layer 1, the directives, right? Essentially, the intent is going to help it define what it should be doing, right? And in this instance, and what we've called out is building out the processes and the markdown files. So that way it's got something to reference. The second is orchestrating, or the working through the decisions at which it should be building out, right? And that is going to be make the decisions, route tasks, handle the errors, and so on. And then finally, it's got the actual execution that it needs to go through and do. So once it's created the directions of what to do, where we're doing it, how we're doing it, now it needs to understand the tasks and the routing and the process that it should follow. And then finally, that 3rd layer is going to be where it goes through and actually executes said tasks and begins implementing. As you see here on the side, it is just consistently working through everything. I have this currently set up in consistent acceptance mode, and so you can change this so that way it can truly just do everything on its own, and we can just see and adjust that by hitting always proceed. And so there, moving forward, this will just run as you want it to do. I sometimes like to have it always require my input first to minimize any potential errors out of the gate. But while it's doing all of this, you'll see that our whole directory and everything's beginning to be built out very quickly, very efficiently, and even better, using this, it's going to be consistent every single time. Next is going to be Claude skills. Now, this is super important because it gives you the ability to bridge the gap between having to recreate your task time and time again and trying to mitigate the error rates that occur when AI tries to do anything. With this, you're able to generate a consistent file structure and a consistent process that it's able to follow. And what's great about this is it works for any of your models. So whether it's Claude or it's Gemini or you're using Google Anti-Gravity's ecosystem, you're able to implement this, and this file structure is able to be used to consistently do those tasks or processes time and time again. Even better, it doesn't actually use tokens because all of this stuff is going to be stored in your local storage. This allows you to create very predictable processes time and time again, so that way you're always getting very predictable results regardless of who is doing it, how they're doing it, and why. For example, let's say you go through and always write a certain way or put together a certain type of proposal. Well, you can turn that into a skill, and the file can be referenced every single time the platform needs to do something. So instead of it having to let AI query and then plan and develop it, it can look at the existing skill that has been added and begin implementing using that exact process every single time. And a great place for you to actually start is to jump over to GitHub, access to Anthropic's hub of all of their existing skills. They've already gone through and built out a ton of really good ones. Honestly, this breaks down a ton of solid foundational structures that you can use and implement into your systems across art, brand guidelines, canvas, design, front end stuff, internal communications, building your own MCP server, so much more. But to be honest, one of my favorite things that you can just really quickly grab is going to be the skill creator. Because guess what that does? It's literally the process to use to make your own skills, which is what we want. Because at the end of the day, it's great to have everything that's in here, but more important for you to have this ability for you to create your own. If you want to be able to access this, all you need to do, change the .com to dev. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a little web editor, similar to what we were already looking at for Gemini. But what this does, yes, allow, sign in. Great. And so now what we got to do is, instead of looking here, we're just going to go into the file structure here a bit. We're going to skills. We're going to skill creator. We're then going to go through allow. We're going to download. All we need to do now, go over to our folder and select. So, yep, allow, save changes. Great. So what's going to have happened is we've now essentially just downloaded this. So all we got to do is come back over here into Google Anti-Gravity, and you will see, boom, Skill Creator is now installed and ready to go. This is amazing. It saves so much time. It's so much better than you trying to start this all over, all by yourself. So if you ever need something, rather than trying to make it 100% yourself, just go on GitHub, look for the corresponding documentation or reference materials, start there. It's a fantastic way for you to kickstart yourself without having to spend unnecessary time, energy, and tokens getting to the same point. Now that it's installed, let's actually get this working. Let's start by renaming the MD file just to make it a little bit easier and pretty straightforward for us. Inside of scripts, we've got skill. Let's hit rename. We're going to call this the magical skill creator. Magical skill creator. So now that it's been renamed and pretty straightforward, I like doing the following. I'm going to start by creating a new conversation. I'm going to make sure I've got the model that I want. In this instance, I'm using Gemini Pro, and I'm going to add this file in here. Again, I want to show you two different ways of doing this. You can just click and drag, or you can come and hit the @ you can go to files, you can search up or scroll magical skill creator. Now, let's just go through and write a quick prompt about something we wanted to create a new skill for. I don't know about you, but if it was me, I wanted to help me create some more content. Maybe that's a nice little easy place for us to start. So let's do the following. I want you to go through and to generate a new skill that allows me to search the web based on a specific keyword or link that I give you. And then I want you to take the information pulled from that and generate a Alex Hormozi style direct response oriented LinkedIn post that I can use that's less than 300 words and has a leading call to action to drive comments and engagement for them to get more information from me. Great. There's a lot of context in there, but there's some really juicy nuggets. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the send feature. It is now off. It's going to begin taking this magical skill creator. It's going to follow the process that's in here, and it's going to begin building our new skill out. The thing I love about this is that what it does is it's honestly going to be walking through the entire system and that process and within that documentation that we've downloaded from the Anthropic's GitHub. And what this is going to do is it's going to, again, generate a repeatable, consistent process that's not going to be leveraging our token, that's not going to be leveraging a heavy load and or increasing our costs, and it's going to create a repeatable, systematic flow that's going to happen time and time again. That way we can do something faster, more effectively, and more efficiently than we would have had we retyped it all out every single time trying to get AI, Gemini, Claude, etc. to try to do that same thing. Let's dive into the little skill that we've just put together. So let's jump into this, and you'll see inside of this, it's actually got the exact process it's going to follow time and time again. So this is the Alex Hormozi LinkedIn post generator. It's got the process it's going to generate to do LinkedIn style, like viral posts following his direct response copywriting principles. In here, it's got the process for gathering the information, validating whether it's usable or a good link. Then also dives into the angle and its style, drafting the post and doing its review and making sure that it works based on the foundational information he writes all of his content on. The thing we will do is go in and rename the skill so that way it's more relevant. So now that this is done, let me jump myself over here, is we can do the following. We can come here, hit @ we can go skill, and we can see the LinkedIn post creator, and now I can go through and use this. And let's do, I don't know, let's give it a keyword to try, right? Automation processes for commercial real estate. Goal here just is really see if we can have it go through and create the style post that we want. Again, the goal here is that it's able to run through and do everything without having the issues. Again, what's nice is you will see it's probably going to have some errors out of the gate, but it's going to work through and do the recursive improvement and changes referring to our agent's documentation. That is pretty awesome. Now, software doesn't work. Margins went up. You don't need. Okay, cool. It worked through it. Ended up creating a draft. Boom. And it built out the version. And here is the draft that it created. Which isn't terrible. It's not terrible. If you went through and you created better ones and did more stuff, you could definitely make this even better, more unique, more established, and add your own tonality and structure to this. So that way it has all of that information to reference on top of what the skill is that you're calling, and it'll give you even better results. Great. Now I want to jump into one of my favorite hacks, which is generating a consistent template that I can use to quickly build all this out time and time again. So as you see, we had to work through and put all of these things together, but let's be real. Most of the time, we're probably going to have a consistent set of skills that we might want in most of our projects. We already know we're going to want the consistent documentation, the initial directives, execute skill creator, and all of the general temporary files and overall structure. So why should we have us go through, spend the time doing this when we can just recreate this really quickly? So all we need to do is jump over to the directory of this file and duplicate it so we have a reliable template. So in this instance, let's say I want to go through and use everything that we've put in our video so far, create a new version of this essentially. All you gotta do is come over to the file that we're currently using. We're going to right click and we're going to copy and we're going to paste. Boom, now we've got this and we're gonna just rename this as example 2. We have example 2. Now, let's just say we've got that new project or new product that we wanna do. We're gonna go open, folder, example 2, open, and look at that. We've got everything already done, already in here, ready for us to kick off and get started. Saves a lot of time and speeds up the development process. The next hack that you want to be able to access and understand is using MCP servers. In order for you to access them, just come up here to the 3 dots, click that, go to MCP servers, and in here you'll see a whole host of available options. There are more, but these are the ones that it's got started. What is MCP? It's called Model Context Protocol. Essentially breaks down a very fancy way of, this is a fun way, I say fun way, but this is the way that all of these platforms can speak to each other and to do a variety of actions independently and without your input. So allowing you to scale things up, do things faster, more efficiently, and move things more cleanly than you would have had you were trying to be the person in between all of this, right? What's really cool about this though is you can just select anything that's already in here and then you'll immediately have access to all of its functionality. In my opinion, accessing GitHub, amazing resource, as you've seen previously in the video where we had to go through and pull some stuff. With this, we'd be able to just pull things straight in and AI could do it for us instead of having to jump around across multiple pages and try to do it all ourselves. By the way, if for some reason you don't have the MCP server in that list, all you gotta do is come over here and come back to the agent and say install this MCP. And if you've got all the documentation or the files, you just come in and paste it into here and hit send, and then the agent's gonna go off and work out a process for helping you get that installed and ready to go. One of my favorite little additions to this is the Open Agent Manager here. And this is like a solid hack that we've been using. Absolutely love this. Essentially, how this works is this highlights and shows all of your workspaces and the ones you've played around with in here most recently. And what this gives you the ability to do is to kick off the different agents inside the Google Gemini ecosystem, or inside the Google anti-gravity ecosystem, allowing you to have multiple agents doing different things on a specific project at the same time. So that way you can have things run in conjunction. So let's just jump into the example project that we've currently got here, and we hit the plus, and let's just say we want to have it go do, I don't know, further research on potential skills that it should have added into our platform. So go through and do research on other potential skills that will be of value to my team who are marketing and content creators for commercial real estate business. So here we go. It's going to be off doing that. And then we can go and click another one, and we're going to create all the documentation. You are an expert researcher, and I want you to create the documentation around best practices for doing research and ensuring that we get the best results out of generating our skills for what we do in our business. Boom. So now we've got both of those agents running in conjunction. One of them is going to be going out and actually building out the documentation. And then the second one's going to be able to then find and reference that documentation to do its work. So now you can start layering all of these things. And even better, you could jump in and have one thing working on building out the front end, another one working on building out the back end, another one working on building like testing and iteration and review. And what this allows you to do is to run multiple iterations in conjunction and scale up the speed at which you develop and implement a plan, a process, a design, a product that you're putting together. Now that you understand that, let's jump into the example that we've got here. We can open up the editor of this agent and you'll see that it's gone through and begin putting things together. It's got this plan. And let's see, Richard. Yep. Approve. In here, it's going through and putting everything together. It's outlining the documentation, the implementation process that it should be following, and regarding the best practices and further improving what is already there. And you can even open this one up to see its outline of what we had initially given it in our prompt. One cool hack that I highly recommend you doing is looking at the implementation plan, which is why we always try to have it give us this review first before it proceeds. And what's nice about this is you see this little element here. It gives us the ability to comment and make improvements or changes or iterations on the actual documentation that it's put together. So as you see, we gave it a prompt and then it goes and creates this implementation plan. Well, now we can go through and actually make changes and updates to this plan, so that way it gives it even better output and ensures that it's contextually aligned to what it is we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it, and our expected outputs. So it's a solid way to make sure that what it's doing is actually aligned to what you're trying to do and not just going off into the deep end, trying to do something completely. Now let's go through and put everything that we've just walked through together. So we've created that one skill, but now let's give it a fun little front end for us to interact with to make this process more entertaining. And we're going to start by giving this agent the task for developing the implementation plan of a front end that we can interact with to then do said skill. You'll understand it's going to go through, it's going to build out that implementation plan. Once that is done, what it's going to do is it's going to have a direct connection to our skill. So now we'll have a completely local version that we can access, open up, and interact with. So that way, anytime we want to create a new Alex Hormozi style LinkedIn post, guess what? It's going to be able to just let us go through the following process. Okay, and now we can jump in here, seeing that it's gone through and created our implementation plan. What's really great about this is great. So it's gone through and put together the implementation plan. Now we've got everything in here to review. And what's great about this makes it really simple and straightforward. All we need to do is the following: review, make any changes that we want to make, and I approve. Feel free to move forward. So what it's going to go through and do now is it's going to go and begin following this implementation plan and putting it all together. Great. So it's going through and it's put together all the initial code. What's really cool about this is you're actually able to let it do its own review as it builds out the platform. So I want to show you an example. Now it's in here, it's putting everything together, and you'll see that it's built out our little Alex Hormozi style generator. And so as you see here, if you try to click on it, it's not going to really want you to do stuff. It's got the agent doing its own version and reviewing everything. So, but it's coming in, taking its screenshot. As you see, it's making changes after it's seen everything that was in there, and it's going to consistently make optimizations. Great. So we've had it go through, finish building everything out. As you see here, it's now live. Let me drag that over here. And now we can go through and run our test. Again, what this is going to do is it's going to leverage the embedded skill. So let's just go through and do Google Anti-Gravity. It is going to be now, look at that, it's doing a cool little animation, and it's going to be giving us an output. Great, look at that. That's awesome. Now, instead of us having to go through and generate this stuff, we can just leverage this skill that we've generated. And it's a really simple, easy way to generate the front end interface for you, for your team to interconnect and integrate with those skills and do so without having to waste tokens, a bunch of unnecessary resources, and so much more. All right, I hope this has all been very helpful to you. If you have any questions, don't forget to put them down in the comments below. It's